what are your influences outside of even the coaches that you have on deck to help bring into writing a workout to keep these elite athletes engaged on a daily basis?
So I guess my biggest influence in terms of my coaching is Anatoly Bondarchuk, who's written a ton of books, but he was a throws coach. He coached the hammer, some pretty impressive stats. He's actually coached every world record in the hammer. Like he held it as an athlete in 1968, and then every world record he's coached. He coached gold, silver, and bronze for 5 Olympics in a row. So this guy's knows his stuff. But his organization of training was really cool. And it's pretty far ahead of his time, because now it's there's a type of motor skill development called differential learning, where it's just exactly that, of adding a ton of variety and basically trying to solve the same task in a ton of different ways is the best way of teaching a technique, because your brain will basically learn the average of it. And that's normally the most efficient way. So if you have a technical flaw, for something we did this morning with the pros specifically, they had fins, drag socks, mitts, paddles, all of these different things, and hitting tempo with a different just things on their hands and feet each time. So it's it is a completely different task each time, but the goal is to find rhythm at a 50 or 100 tempo. And you can just see when they have the mitts on their hands, the way they're putting it in is much more efficient, even though it's we didn't talk about that at all, but he finds a way to do that. And that was the Bondarchuk approach. He did it teaching the hammer, but it was the way he did it, honestly, a lot differently than the way I implement it. But he would basically, once you've done a stimulus until they reached a peak that he kind of determined, they would literally never do that again for the rest of their careers. So it's forcing the coach to constantly make new stuff. And that's kind of what I try and do, because I think it's exactly that. It's once you reach max level, you stop leveling. So you know how to do this. You're not going to gain any new information by just repeating the stuff we know you know how to do. I guess to disclaimer, there's obviously times when it's okay, this person's struggling. Let's just put in a tempo trainer and just make this look good for a couple of days. And they're going to self-organize and find their rhythm naturally by themselves. But in order to grow, we have to keep learning. So that's the challenge for myself. And that's what I think makes it fun. It's knowing, okay, the stuff we did last year in this time of year, we can't just do that again, because we'll at best be the same we were last year. Reality will be just a little bit worse. So it has to be new. So that's what is can be hard, because it's oh man, but this worked super well last year. What if we just keep doing this? But then it's myself, when I consciously think of okay, well, what the years that went really well, one, I can remember at those times, a lot of times kind of freaking out and not knowing exactly what to do. So that was the mindset that I had going in. It wasn't oh, I have this plan and we're just going to do it. It was okay, looking at this person, why are they not swimming the 100 free as well as I'd like them to? Which part of the race are they struggling with? Which part of their technique are they struggling with? And then what I have to try and figure out is, how can I make a set or add equipment that teaches them what I want them to do, ideally without me saying it. So if we can do that, then it's perfect. Because then it's one, I think that's the way we develop feel, is through feeling, not through talking about it. And two, if they kind of find the answers themselves, they've kind of internalized it, and then they have this confidence of I know what to do and how to do it. And then if you do that over and over again, then the problem is, okay, swim this 100 free as fast as you can in Indianapolis. They can figure that out themselves, and hopefully don't need me to do anything at that point, because there's not much I can do.
Hey everybody, thanks for hanging out with us. If you're enjoying Social Kick, tell your friends about it, and be sure to tell us what you liked by leaving a comment, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Social Kick, And you can find all of our content on our website at thesocialkick.com.